Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com. And today my guest is Sidereal astrologer Krasi Attasio, who will lead us through the month of October. We're all a bit like holding our breath because October starts with an eclipse, but Krasi says, oh, you see, there's some very softening, good indications right after the eclipse that will soften the whole energy. So I'm excited to hear, Krasi, what you have to tell us for the month of October.
Yes, indeed. Hello, Ada. Hello, everyone. Yes, first, 2 words about the eclipse. We spoke about the eclipse last time, previous time. 2 words about the eclipse. Before that, to tell you that on 4th of October is the appearance of the first lunar crescent, which is the showing already the next month, which is Babylonian Tishrit, which is actually the month of the autumn equinox. This is as important as the vernal equinox. Of course, this is for the northern hemisphere, this is autumn. For the southern hemisphere, this is spring, equally important for both hemispheres. If the word is round, flat, this is another conversation anyway. So this is a very important date, which actually is showing how the next 6 months will look like. This doesn't exclude the importance of the eclipse. The eclipse will have impact because I don't want to go now through these calculations, but the eclipse may have impact on us for 3 months and 10 days. This is because of the watch where the eclipse appeared. Also, the eclipse may have impact on health. This is again because of the lunar day, where it appears, and so on, so on, so. But Wada, just 2-3 words on something which I forgot. We forgot to mention. This eclipse is quite similar to the eclipse which appeared 18 years ago in 2006.
So also on the same degree, 2005 exactly. Actually, I think it was 2005. I was looking
18 years ago.
Yes, 2005 on the same day.
And you go 18 years ago, and 18 years ago, when we look historically, we have a little bit the idea of what the eclipses in on the axis of Pisces, Virgo can bring. And just very briefly to tell you, after this eclipse, 18 years ago, we had Lebanon. One second. The conflict between Israel and Lebanon started after this eclipse.
Then they just attacked now. Israel, they started shooting each other, as far as I know.
Yes, so yes. I was thinking, what is this? You know, because it's a clear repetition of 18 years ago. Then we had in India a big flight crash. 209 people died. This was in India. Then you had, when you go, many other events. You had Olympics, you had, but we don't go through these events. Another 18 years ago, USSR, the Soviet Union at that time, and Afghanistan stopped the war. So I say this just to illustrate that the eclipses are just portals for change. They do not always bring the bad. Of course, we're accustomed to believe and to see that they bring difficult events, but they also, because they're portals for change, they can stop a very evil event like USSR, Afghanistan war just stopped. Then you had a very big Pan Am flight crash. At that time, it was very big issue in America. I don't know about this. I just mentioned it. And look, another very Piscean event, which I found very interesting. United States accepted 30,000 children from Vietnam for adoption. This is the axis of Pisces, Virgo, Pisces, empathy. They adopted the children which, had no parents. And then WADA in 1988, 18 years ago, eclipse on the same axis, something which is mind-blowing. The global warming deception started. They announced Oh, we have global warming. And this was done by one guy who worked in NASA. His name is James Hansen. Why I say this? Because eclipses, when they involve the axis of Pisces, it is always something which concerns the humanity. It's something very important, always. So you see, 36 years ago, they started the deception of the global warming, and it is still concerning us. See how important this axis is. Yes, we had stop of Soviet Union, Afghanistan war at that time. This is very good, but still global events which still influence our lives are there. So this I wanted to tell you. What is about this eclipse? Well, quite similar stuff. You said it. You see, again, Lebanon, Israel situation, refugees, lots of refugees, water floating. And this is also what we see, what might be happening after this eclipse on the 2nd of October. Now,
just tell something to people, global warming or whatever, there is climate change, but because we're changing from age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, every time our age changes, the conditions on the planets change because souls need to incarnate in different conditions. The climate changes because the sun starts changing its when it passes through a new constellation. It starts changing the vibrations it sends, because the sun
very
is
true.
the energy that makes the evolution on Earth. And now we're moving, it's about 300 years, this transit from Pisces to Aquarius. Pisces is wet and cold. Aquarius is hot and warm by the symbols of the air, air and water. So we're definitely going to get warmer and hotter. Warm and hot. No, what was it? Warm and moist.
Humid.
Yes.
Humid.
Yes. So we're going to do that, but not because human activity, it's because the consciousness of the sun is changing to change our consciousness and the environment. So no matter what we do, you can cover the earth with a nylon or whatever. It's not it's not going to stop. So
absolutely. Oh, I'm glad you said that, because these are just cycles. These are cycles of the universal cycles. Yes, very, very true. Now, speaking about eclipse, after the eclipse, only 2 days after the eclipse, we are starting the next important 6 months of the year. This is the first of Tishrit, Babylonian Tishrit. This is where we have this is the beginning of, I mentioned autumn equinox. So when this starts, beautiful grand trine is formed on the sky, which is what? Mars at that time will be in the 22nd degrees of Gemini. Venus will be in the 20th degree of Gemini together with the moon, and Saturn will be in the 20th degree of Aquarius. So this is a trine, giant trine on the sky. Which trine is about what? First of all, Mars is during this, alignment on the sky. Mars will be in the vicinity of one of the two great twins, and this is not Gilgamesh, the martial one, the royal one. This is Enkidu, more spiritual, more connected with nature, and more natural in general. And Mars is conjoining him, which is not such a bad sign, because Mars is about our drive. So this is exactly to nature, to spirituality. This is the star Castor, not the star Pollux, because the Gemini consists of two stars, Castor and Pollux. Then Venus is in the vicinity of Gemma. And in Libra, and Venus rules Libra. I'm talking about sidereal coordinates. So Venus in Libra in the vicinity of Gamma is beautiful placement, Wada, because this is the shiniest, the star with the highest magnitude, the star from the constellation of the Northern Crown. This is star of beauty, talent. This is star of creating beauty, enjoying beauty. It's all about beauty, love. And then Saturn is in the 20th degree of Aquarius, and this is sacred degree. This is the water which the waterman is pouring. So I see this as something very, very ominous, but in a good sense. It is really good. Look, all three are in very significant degrees. This is not nothing. It always happens for a reason. And this is emphasized by the moon, because at that time, the appearance of the moon is with Venus. So yes, we will have our challenges, and then we can choose the path of beauty, creating beauty, spirituality, connection with the land. So it actually can be something very, very good, becoming very practical, because Saturn and Mars, when they form trine, people become very practical, very even very strong. You can go through any situation with this particular trine. Also, at that moment, Jupiter is trining. Jupiter will be in the 27 degree of Taurus, conjoined Capella, star of money, and he is trining the Sun and Mercury exalted in Virgo. And also, we say when benevolent planet is participating in the eclipse, and Jupiter participates by forming good aspect to the planets, the luminaries, the evil will be destroyed. So this eclipse, in a way, yes, it's an eclipse. It's dramatic by default, but I don't think that we should underestimate these very helpful alignments during the eclipse and also 2 days after. So I believe the evil will be somehow influenced, by these alignments.
And may I add also, this eclipse is only visible from the Pacific Ocean. It doesn't much.
This is important.
So it's, yeah.
It is important.
Still, it's an eclipse.
It's an eclipse, no, but again, it has to do with our consciousness, how we approach the eclipses. If we choose the collective vibration of fear and worry because of eclipses, they will bring evil. It is really like testing our collective vibration, how we approach these energies. This is so important. I can't emphasize enough, really, how we perceive them, how we approach them. The ancients would approach them as very evil, very destructive, and this is what the eclipses brought back in Babylon, back in Mesopotamia. It is really about the collective consciousness. I'm sure you can see this day by day. Yes, saying this, what else to say? We can look maybe at the 12 ascendants and see how this new trine, how, it's an important day, 4th of October. This is the day which determines the next 6 days. So basically, I will look a little bit more generally at that.
And before Krasi starts, she uses sidereal and tropical zodiac for each of the 12 signs. Tropical is the ones we know in the West. Sidereal is usually one sign behind because that's the actual constellations. So it depends if you are listening to sidereal, tropical, find your sign. Krasi always says it. And if you want a personal reading with Krasi, she offers 30% discount on 2 readings. I'm putting a link below only for our viewers for the next 2 weeks if you want to connect with Krasi.
Thank you, Wada. Thank you, Wada. Yes, like Wada just mentioned, I mentioned the rising sign, the ascendant from sidereal and also from tropical perspective. For example, people who have sidereal ascendant Aries, sidereal, this would be most probably tropical Taurus. If you don't know your time of birth, which is determining the placement of your ascendant, then you can apply your moon sign, because sometimes when some people come to me without knowing their time of birth, oftentimes we can derive the horoscopes from the position of the moon. Now, of course, this is not the same, but gives information, quite good information also. Now, so I'm starting with people with sidereal ascendant Aries or tropical Taurus, or apply your moon sign, like I just said. Now for you, this is October will be quite interesting because Venus will be on your seventh house, and this grand trine, which is happening between Venus, between Saturn, between Mars, is influencing good house.
Krasi, can you hear me? I lost you. Krasi, Krasi. Oh no. We lost. Krasi, sorry. Sorry, guys. Something happened with the internet, and I hope it's back on now.
I went to check the router, but it was all right normally. Okay, perfect.
It's fine, but I'll check if it's still, yeah, carry on. But I don't know where it stopped though.
I started with just with Aries, so I think we are fine. Okay, so yeah, this is the risk of the live streaming. We can have technical issues. Thank you for waiting, ladies and gentlemen. So I was talking about seventh house. This is your seventh house. It is exactly where you have the first appearance of the moon. This is emphasis of seventh house, agreements, businesses, also romantic life. This is blessing. Also, because the trine involves Saturn and Mars on the third and 11th houses, this is actually very benevolent for your social circle. Financially can give you good results, but you may need to be a little bit cautious when you travel and when you negotiate. In addition, Jupiter is making good aspect from your second house, which is financially quite supportive. And you have exalted Mercury in the sixth house in the meantime, which can help you in your routine, in your, in health matters, but can support a lot your routine, working with institutions, arranging your documentation, administration. So in this sense, this is fine. In general, October looks quite fine for you and quite harmonious in many ways. And now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Taurus or moon in Taurus, or if we are following the modern tropical astrology, this will be Gemini. Now for you, during the appearance of the lunar crescent for the month of October, Mars will be right on your, Jupiter will be right on your ascendant. And this is not new. Jupiter will be on your ascendant until the spring of next year. I think it was somewhere in May when he's changing sign to Gemini. So Jupiter is on your ascendant, and the grand trine, which is taking place for the beginning of the month, is involving your 10th house, your career place, your second house, and your sixth house. Actually, This is fine for your career, financially, work, job in general, because you have involvement of the sixth house, of your routine, of your job.
Krasi, you have no picture.
Now I have no picture. This is very strange. Do you see me, Wada? I don't know what's going on today. So, so this is about people who have sidereal ascendant Taurus or tropical Gemini. Mainly the emphasis will be on finances, on job, and actually you can have quite good results because also you have the blessing of Jupiter on your ascendant, and the sun is shining on the fifth house. This is quite lucky. Of course, watch out a little bit, be a little bit more attentive with children, and when you make financial decisions, try not to be impulsive, be a little bit careful. And now we'll be looking at people who have sidereal ascendant Gemini or moon in Gemini, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this would be Cancer. For you, at the day of the appearance of the first lunar crescent, which is the beginning of the month, Mars is on your ascendant, conjoining Castor, the very important natural spiritual star from the constellation of Gemini. This is good. Of course, Mars participates in this trine with Saturn in the ninth, Venus and Moon in the fifth house. This is lucky because both houses, fifth and ninth, have benevolent nature. Saturn from the ninth house is trining Mars on your ascendant and can make you very organized, very productive, very practical in everything that you undertake. So this is actually fine. This is benevolent period for studying, for travel, especially for studying, especially for creative activities, beauty even procedures, beauty in general, artistic work, blessing of your children. So this can be quite fine. Now, in the meantime, Jupiter will be in your 12th house. He's trining the planets in your 4th house. This is also fine for activity which is involving properties, your home. But in general, the most important is Rahu Ketu axis of this month, which is that the eclipses also pass through the positions where the two lunar nodes Rahu and Ketu are. And this is the axis of your 10th and 4th houses, which involve your career, your home, and mostly, and maybe the eclipses caused by the two lunar nodes are happening on this axis for you, which can have impact on your career and home. Basically, this becomes portal for change for you. So be a little bit more careful there, be more diplomatic with superiors. When you're aiming at certain projects or career ideas, try not to be impulsive and be careful because Mars is also aspecting these points. But in general, this grand trine is involving lucky placements in your horoscope. And now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Cancer or moon in Cancer, or if you're following modern tropical astrology, this would be Leo. Now, for you, the first appearance of the moon with Venus is taking place on your 4th house. This is fine for your home, or for mother, even for your work, because Venus is making opposition to the 10th house related to your career. Now, of course, this may not be the most fruitful career moment because the ruler, Mars, is in the 12th house, because trined by Saturn from the 8th house. And these are not the most benevolent houses in the horoscope, but still, you can use the moment for spiritual work, for taking time for, let's say, spiritual activities, pilgrimages, because Mars, is in the 12th. Of course, you have to be, in the meantime, a little bit careful for hidden enemies, but Jupiter in the 11th house is benevolent for your finances, is benevolent for your children. He's creating harmonious aspect to your 3rd house, to your 9th house, axis of studies, this quite good period for studies, to enhance your courage, for travel, for negotiations. So even though the trine doesn't involve the luckiest placements in your horoscope, still you have quite good placement of the two malefic planets, and you can use it for for spiritual work, also to pay attention and inform yourself about health. And in the meantime, Jupiter creates harmonious aspect to your ascendant, which is protective, which is fine. Just watch out a little bit, be more responsible for your health, and don't trust just everyone in the meantime during this cycle because of Mars in the 12th house. And now we're looking at people who have sidereal ascendant Leo or moon in Leo, or if you're following the tropical astrology, this would be Virgo. Now for you, Jupiter is on your 10th house. He will be there until the spring of next year. This is quite supporting for your career. He trines exalted Mercury and the Sun in your 2nd house, and basically this is benevolent for finances and for your career, but this axis of 2nd and 8th houses become the portal for change, so you're probably going through important financial changes. In the meantime, this grand trine of this month of October is involving the 11th house. This is house of the good spirit, the 3rd house, which is also benevolent house, and the 7th. And actually, this is emphasis on business, on your romantic life, and can be benevolent because Venus is trining Saturn on the 7th house, can bring stability, can help you improve your relationship, can help you, let's say you had conflict, now to find good solution and to bring again fresh air and love in your relationship. So this actually can be quite benevolent. Also, Mars and Venus in a trine are also very good in a romantic sense, for you. Venus and the Moon in the 3rd house emphasize on study, on communication, on negotiation. And this is, especially in October, and this is quite fine. This can support your studies very much, can support and improve relationships with brothers and sisters. So actually, you have quite good placements of the month of October, and business-wise and financially, Jupiter trining all these planets in the 2nd house should be okay for you. And now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Virgo or moon in Virgo, or if you're following the modern tropical astrology, this would be Libra. For you, exalted Mercury and the Sun are on your ascendant, trined by Jupiter from your 9th house. This is fine for studies, spiritual work, even travel. Career-wise, with Mars on the 10th house, try to be a little bit careful. Yes, Mars is trining Venus on your 2nd house, which actually can be even fine financially, but try to be very diplomatic, not impulsive, because Mars is Mars after all. But he receives trine from Saturn in the 6th house, and this actually can make you strong, practical, organized, even diplomatic. But still always keep in mind that in October, Mars is on the 10th house, and you may need to be a little bit more diplomatic, not impulsive and careful when you communicate with superiors. But Saturn, even retrograde in the 6th house, in Aquarius, on your, receiving good aspect from Venus, can be benevolent for your the everyday job environment. Benevolent in a sense that Saturn, when retrograde, is not so bad. And when Venus aspects him, he's also good because he loves Venus. So this can help you to put in order, to organize very well your job, your administration, your everyday environment. Also to find health, way to improve your health. This also can be very good to organize yourself and say, I want to improve my health. And Venus can be very supportive in this sense. So this is absolutely not a bad trine from the 2nd to the 6th houses in your horoscope. Now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Libra or moon in Libra. If you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Scorpio. For you, beautifully, Venus is on your ascendant. The first appearance of the moon happens also on your ascendant. This is luck, blessing for you personally. Mars is trining. Mars can give you very good drive to fulfill your goals, to study, to do things for yourself. Then Venus from your ascendant, which is basically you, because this is your house of life, this is you, and Venus is ruling Libra. So Venus from your ascendant is trining Saturn in the fifth house, and the fifth house is the house of the good fortune. This is quite fine. This can be very good, can give you drive to study creative knowledge, to do talented work, creative activities. Let's say this can give you muse to create something beautiful. So this can be something very good. In the meantime, Jupiter from Taurus.
Krasi, Krasi, can you hear me? I can't hear anything.
It's house. It is exactly. I'm here again. Again, trying to see what is going on with the internet. Thank you again for waiting for me.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe because we have storms today. I don't know really why is this happening. Anyway, so this was about Libra people. Now for you, like I said, a very good blessing is Venus on the ascendant, and the fact that the first lunar crescent, which appears on the 4th of October, is happening with Venus. So this is really very good, like not even October, but could be a blessing for the next 6 months, because like we said, this is the point, the day of the autumn equinox. So for creative studies, for creative activities, for study, because of Mars and Venus trine, this could be very benevolent. In addition, Jupiter in Taurus is benevolent for the finances of your partner, finances via partnership. And this is via unexpected sources. And this is also because Uranus is also there, who also is involved in important changes for your finances. Now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Scorpio or moon in Scorpio, or if you're following modern tropical astrology, this would be Sagittarius. Now for you, Mars, who rules your ascendant, during this very important moment of 4th of October, of the appearance of the first lunar crescent, Mars is in your 8th house in Gemini. And in the 8th house, this conjoint, like I mentioned, the star Castor, which is more about natural sciences, about connection with nature, spirituality. So this probably will be the drive that you will be having. Mars is also in the 8th house, has to do with money of your partner, money of unexpected sources. So in this sense, Mars can give you results. Mars is trining Venus in your 12th house, which can bless your health. And Venus is aspecting Saturn in your 4th house, who is already there for a long time and will be there until, almost end of 2025. And this trine can be benevolent and give results related to property, to your home, to work at home if you want. So in the meantime, Jupiter on your 7th house is blessing your relationship, your some contracts, agreements, businesses, and Uranus together with Jupiter stays behind changes which you're probably already experiencing in your 7th house. And they are trining exalted Mercury and the Sun in the 11th house, which is kind of interesting and resultful when it comes to gains and finances. So October shouldn't be that bad for you. Just be a little bit careful when it comes to financial decisions, especially when they involve finances via unexpected sources, or the finances of your partner, or finances of partnerships in general. Now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Sagittarius or moon in Sagittarius, or if you're following modern tropical astrology, this is Capricorn. Now for you, Jupiter, who rules your ascendant, is on your 6th house. He is with Uranus in Taurus. Jupiter is not very, very strong indeed in the 6th house, but he can restore the peace in your routine environment, the peace in your work environment, with colleagues, with subordinates. And Jupiter is trining the Sun and exalted Mercury in the 10th, and already there you have the 2 lunar nodes which are staying behind the eclipses. So the 10th and 4th houses for you became important axis of for change. So home, career is where probably you're experiencing changes, but Jupiter is somehow helpful. He is making this transition, if you want to call it so, smoother. So this is fine. Jupiter also can be supporting your health. In addition, the first appearance of the moon is on your 11th house with Venus. Venus is supporting your children. Financially, she's supportive, so this is okay. And she's trining Saturn in your 3rd house, so Saturn very strong in Aquarius. And this particular trine is involving travel, communication, commerce, and can be benevolent because of the grand trine which is formed. So travel, communication, commercial activities could be benevolent because of this giant aspect. Be a little bit more diplomatic, careful in your romantic life. And when you negotiate, only this is the small point to make for you. And now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Capricorn or moon in Capricorn, or if we're following modern tropical astrology, this would be Aquarius. Now for you, Venus is on your 10th house. The first appearance of the moon is also on the 10th house in Libra, and this is your career place. You may have good results there, also because Mars is trining from your 6th house, which is your routine, which is your job. And Mars receives trine also from Saturn in the 2nd house. With this a little bit complex alignment, you may eventually have good results, but be a little bit more organized and diplomatic because of Mars in the 6th house. Be organized, be structured, be diplomatic with people. In addition, Mercury exalted and the Sun from your 9th house are receiving trine from Jupiter in the 5th. This can be very lucky for study, for creative knowledge, for a talented work. It could be the moment, really. You may have very good results also there, but be a little bit more diplomatic and careful with people who share your routine environment. And when you travel, or when you choose education and study, also be a little bit more careful, apply your intuition when you plan travel or when you choose study or philosophy. And now let's look at people who have sidereal ascendant Aquarius or moon in Aquarius, or if you are following the modern tropical astrology, this would be Pisces. Now for you, Saturn is on the ascendant, very powerful. He's owning, ruling Aquarius, and he receives harmonious aspect from Venus. And also the first appearance of the moon is taking place in Libra together with Venus. So this is important trine, which is blessing study, travel, communication, creativity. So this is very, very good. And Saturn also is trining Mars in your 5th house. This involves indeed the drive to creative knowledge, to pleasure, to talent. So this could be something very good. Jupiter is in the 4th house, trining the planets, the exalted Mercury and the Sun in your 8th house. And this also involves the axis for change, because the eclipses of this year take place for you in your axis of 8 and second houses. So basically, you're probably experiencing changes financially also, which may involve the finances of your partner or a partnership money, or in general, the axis of finances is involved in a change which is taking place for you this year. But Saturn trining Mars, Mars trining Venus, and the Moon, which is having her first appearance on 4th of October, can be benevolent for creativity, for study, creative knowledge, talented work. This can give you the muse to study or to start something new study, new philosophy, new project. So this can be quite fine. And now people who have sidereal ascendant Pisces or Moon in Pisces, or if you're following modern tropical astrology, this would be Aries. Now, this axis in general, Pisces, Virgo, which involves your ascendant, is very, very important. First, because Pisces is a very important sign for our era. And secondly, because this is the axis of the eclipses of this year. Basically, axis for change. This, if you really vibrate appropriately high, can lead you to amazing spiritual growth, enlightenment experiences. So this is very important. In addition, you need to be a little bit careful because Mars is on your 4th house. So be attentive with with parents. Mars is trining Venus in your 8th house. This can be benevolent because Venus can support finances of partnership, of your partner, finances via unexpected sources. Venus can support your health also because she's trining Saturn in the 12th house. With Saturn in the 12th, you may eventually have some hidden enemies, but then Saturn will give you the tools to overpower them. Be attentive towards your health in particular, but also this grand trine will give you good results. You just need to be very organized, very disciplined, very practical. In addition, the exalted Mercury and the Sun in the 7th house, at the moment of this first appearance of the Moon, they are very important there because actually they emphasize on relationship. And you may need to be a little bit more diplomatic there, a little bit more attentive and careful when it comes to your romantic life. Also because Ketu is there and the whole axis involves you, your romantic partner or partnerships in general, and this becomes axis which can involve changes. So be a little bit careful, be diplomatic so that the changes are benevolent. Most probably they will be benevolent because Jupiter is creating harmonious trine, but Mars also makes aspect, which means that you may need to be diplomatic, careful, and things will be fine, especially when you know. So yes, we managed, not to have more interruptions. Yes.
Thank you so much, Krasi, for despite here we're having storms as well, but thank you.
We have storms, yeah.
I don't envy America. It was destroyed. The few states, it's been a nightmare. But you not heard the hurricane? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. See, after the first eclipse, between the two, exactly on the portal. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, our prayers with our fellow Americans who are like that. I think it happened also incredible. One of the deadliest, thousands and thousands dead in Tibet, somewhere in Tibet as well, flooding in the capital, or Lhasa or something like that. I'm not quite sure. So we saw a lot of the Pisces energy playing out of flooding. But anyway, I hope October.
Yeah, water flooding.
More benevolent. Hopefully, Krasi gave us some good news. If anyone wants to connect to Krasi, she's offering 30% off on a couple of readings. I've put the link below in the description. Thank you so much, Krasi. Looking forward to connecting.